Seeing some technical difficulties here. All right, y'all, what's happening? You are watching Facts and Opinions with JR. I'm the host, and I hope you guys had an enjoyable weekend or are having an enjoyable weekend because it's going to be a hell of a ride for us in the next 4 years, okay? Now, we all know that we have a new president now, the Honorable Joe Biden, president, and his sidekick, Kamala Harris. They are our new president and vice president of the United States. And when we talked about this before, I had a few concerns about them being, thrust into the number one position the way that they were. And I recall um, saying something to the effect that if, all things being equal, I hope he's successful. But here's the thing. Um, he went into office not his first 24 hours, and he signed 17 executive orders. Now, I know to some of us that sounds like he's doing his job. Bullshit, okay? One of the concerns that a lot of us had when this whole thing went down was that, maybe Joe, Sleepy Joe, or good old time, good old boy ride the Amtrak train to work every day, Joe, was gonna be, the Scranton, Pennsylvania kind of Joe, always down for the unions and support the little guy and all that bullshit we be talking about when it comes to Joe Biden. Well, seems to me that he's full of shit. Okay, because if you're supposed to be for the little guy, then explain to me why in your first 24 hours of your new job, your new position, chief executive, number one executive of this country, your first priority was to cancel the XL pipeline, or should I say, halt construction on it. Now, environmentalists are having a field day. They really, ooh, yay, waving flags and all this other stuff. Now, do you recall me and you having this conversation before? Not this particular subject, but I recall saying something to the effect that there are things called unintended consequences. There's always a consequence to all the things that go on and all the stuff that you do. Because if you do one thing and then you turn around and don't consider the consequences of your actions, you might find yourself getting kicked in the ass by the thing you did. Now, i.e., one of Biden's executive orders that canceled the Keystone XL pipeline, or should I say, properly put a halt to it. Halted construction on it. One of the things that the unintended consequences of that was that over somewhere around 60 to 70,000 people lost their jobs with the stroke of a pen. All right. Now, you had Buttigieg. He's a part of the president's cabinet, I believe. I think he's the transportation secretary. He said something to the effect that, maybe, just maybe, some of these people may have gotten themselves into the wrong line of work, or that the future, employment for these people that were laid off is going to come in different forms and they can get rehired and so on and so forth at probably other fields. Now, that's a load of bullshit if I ever heard it. I mean, that's that elite, that upper crust kind of bullshit. Looking down on the little man with your nose poked up. All right, these people lost very good paying jobs. All right, some of those jobs paid really good, and with the stroke of a pen, just ended all of that. Now, some of these people work seasonally, okay, because you have to understand Once a certain section of the pipeline is done, these same people get laid off, but they've made their money and they're just waiting for another opportunity. So, because you have to remember now, this pipeline goes through a number of states and goes through a long area. It's going straight up to Canada. All right, and not to mention the fact that canceling the pipeline caused all kinds of employment issues for over 60, 70,000 people. It also put a little crimp in the idea of what Canada had going on with us when that pipeline was approved. The pipeline went to Canada, and they were going to be sending oil and crude through the pipeline down to the refineries in our country, making it easier for them to transport it and making it easier and financially plausible to do it in this fashion. And it was more environmentally safe because now you don't have these trains, diesel trains going down the railroad tracks, puffing smoke every damn where. All right, and you got these damn cars being pulled down the railroad track where you could derail them, and boom, what we got? A bunch of derailed train cars full of oil splashing all over the fucking environment. Okay, that's one of the arguments, is that you can do it this way, but that was the argument to put in the Keystone, to eliminate the idea of oil being transported around on trucks, on rail, all of that. It's environmentally unsafe. Now, if we're going to be talking about the environmentalists, then remember, they're full of shit too, because they should be the ones that were more in an uproar about the XL pipeline being canceled more than anybody else, because it would have put it below ground. It wouldn't endanger the environment, wouldn't endanger the animals, wouldn't do shit. But it would have been a safer mode of transporting oil from one location to another location. President Biden stopped that. Okay, cool. Maybe you just want to do some things differently. I got you. But please explain to me what the fucking purpose of stopping the construction of the fucking border wall when you have thousands of South Americans in caravans right now hauling their asses north to get into this country. Now, again, we are right back where we started from, okay? Before Trump, we had this bullshit. After Trump, we back to this bullshit. Really? I mean, really, we making these type of stupid ass moves basically overnight. Nobody's legislated any of this. No one's had a meeting about any of this. No one has said shit. And out of the executive orders that Biden has signed, I don't believe he read any of these bitches, all right? Seriously, I don't believe this man said, wait a minute, hold up, pump your brakes, stop. He ain't read none of this shit. He's just signing his fucking name. Rubber, as they say, rubber stamping, bink, bink, bink. This is getting fucking scary, and you don't understand the depths of this bullshit. I said it before, I'm going to say it again. The Republic is in danger. In danger. Danger, danger, Will Robinson, danger. I'm trying to tell you people. This shit is getting really bad. Now, along with the executive orders that were signed, he's talking about returning to the Paris Climate Agreement. Now, if you're not familiar with it, then let me pull your coattail. The Paris Climate Agreement that we entered into under the Obama administration basically tied our hands, eliminated industry in this country. And if you remember, we were dealing with a very, very, very substantial situation with high utility bills. Not that recently in the past, okay? That was the first time I actually seen so many people struggling just to pay their utility bills. They would end up having, and I've done it myself, had to put a little something on it because it's so damn high. You have to call the people, make arrangements with them so they don't cut your ass the fuck off. Now, this happened under the Obama administration with Joe Biden. Now, we weren't energy independent at that time. Now, you can recall, just like everyone else, we had gas prices at $3 and $4 a gallon, almost $4 a gallon. In some locations, it was $5. Okay? Do you really want to go back to that? See, energy independence means that we provide for our own energy needs, reducing our dependence on foreign oil. guess what? When you have foreign oil, you have foreign fucking wars. Every time you look around, we in a fight with somebody. Why? Because we're not pumping our own shit. Okay? When Trump removed the regulations, opened up the government lands to oil exploration, and when he removed some restrictions limiting the amount of investment in oil drilling, and remove some of those crazy regulations about, okay, you're holding up $1 billion project for a fucking frog. Okay? Got rid of that shit. All right? But now we're going backwards in time. Now we're going to relive the Obama years, the Clinton years, the Bush years, and every other freaking ass goddamn president that was under this kind of idea where we cannot use our own resources, but we can go and deal with somebody else's, forcing us to spend money we don't have. Okay? Remember now, we have a $27 trillion debt, national debt. That is a security issue out of this world. Okay? National security issue out of this world. And a lot of people are not paying close attention to the moves the government is making. And the moves that the government is, okay, key question. The president has went through his inauguration, all right? He is now seated at the White House, President Joseph Biden, okay? Could you please explain to me why in the fuck is still 25 goddamn thousand motherfucking military troops in Washington, D.C.? Please explain. What the hell is this? Okay, seriously. This ain't a conspiracy theory. I'm just asking a fucking question. What the fuck is this? I have never in all my years, now I've been here long enough to understand this shit. Ain't no damn military troops been posted in Washington, D.C. after inauguration like this. Something is wrong. Something is seriously fucking wrong. And a lot of us are not questioning this. All right? These people are going to be there until March. Why? And what is the purpose of this shit? Why are you rolling back and getting people unemployed at a time when we got these virus lockdowns going on? A lot of people have already lost their employment. You got unemployment running rampant because nobody's got a fucking job. This is post-COVID, all right? Pre-COVID, under Donald John Trump, it was the best economy in over 50 years. Even the press couldn't hide from that shit, okay? Even the press couldn't. The mainstream media, they wanted to try to rally against it and say whatever they wanted to say. But here's the thing that fucked them up. You could actually feel the difference, all right? You could actually see the difference. Everybody was going to work. Everybody had a job. There were motherfucking jobs, help wanted signs every damn where. So if you wanted a job, you could have a job. Didn't make a difference what it was. You just had a job. The opportunities were there. Post-COVID, opportunities dried up. You got these crazy-ass individuals in certain states that instead of them addressing the outbreaks, they're not dealing with it in the proper manner. And it's pretty obvious because we're seeing the results every day. We're watching this totally unfold right before our very eyes. How these people have went from politicians straight into dictators, okay? They have removed our rights. They have taken away our opportunities. And now we have a Democrat Senate, we have a Democrat House, and we have a Democrat president. Now, if all things being equal, and all this stuff is, it is what it is, and we know what it is, all right? Then explain to me this one little thing. If we're going back into the Paris Climate Agreement, which would cost the United States $3 trillion, adding on to that $27 trillion national debt that we have, when does the bell start ringing for the bankruptcy to occur? When does the bell start ringing for us not to be able, because we're not paying the debt, we're paying the interest on the debt. If you don't know anything about government finances, the deal is we're not paying that debt. We're only paying the interest on that debt. Now, guess what? That debt could go so high to where only paying the interest means that we're spending every dime. This country makes $19 trillion a year total gross, all right? That's all the money we get. Like maybe about 18.5, somewhere in that area, but about 19, maybe 20 trillion. What happens when the national debt interest on that debt exceeds the money that we bring in every year through taxes, every year through the Treasury? What happens then? Okay, I see what you're saying. We just print more money, right? Wrong. Listen, I told you before, there was a clear case, a clear situation. History has proven itself to be true each and every fucking time. The Weimar Republic, prime example, every individual that knows anything about finance can tell you what happened with the Weimar Republic. I'm just going to sum it up for your ass real quick. Go get you a goddamn cup of coffee in the morning. All right? Just one fucking cup. You don't need a whole goddamn pot. One cup of goddamn coffee. Cost you 25 cents. Get your cup of coffee, drink that shit down, take your ass to work. Lunchtime done rolled around. You go back to that same restaurant. See that same guy behind the counter. You asking for another cup of coffee. Now remember, you got your first cup at like about 8 o'clock that morning. It's noon now. You're going for cup number 2. That same cup of coffee that morning that cost you 25 cents now it costs you $2.25. Okay. All right, so you pay that $2.25 for your one cup of coffee that you paid a quarter for earlier that morning. You go back to work. Now, it's quitting time. Time to go home, relax, kick back, reflect on your day and all the bullshit you had to put up with. But in your travels to get home, you decide, you know what? I'm going to have me another cup of coffee before I get to the house. You might be waiting on the trolley to come. You might be waiting on the bus. Who knows? Now, when you go back to that same restaurant that you went to that morning for a 25-cent cup of coffee, that same restaurant you went to that afternoon at lunchtime, got a cup of coffee, $2.25. It's the evening now. It's nighttime. It's dinner time. Now you want to go get you that last cup of coffee just before you make it home. You go into that same restaurant. You see the same guy. You sit at the same damn counter. And that cup of coffee that you paid a quarter for that morning, $2.25 that afternoon, now cost you $5.25. Understand what I'm saying? The more money you print, the less it's worth, okay? If you got $20,000 in the bank, hard work, you saved it, scrimped and scrapped, and did everything you had to do. You taking pop bottles back to the fucking store, everything. You got you $10,000 in the fucking bank. The government printing money devalues your money in the bank. So what you thought was $10,000 you had saved in the bank, with the government printing money, that $10,000 now could be only worth what? $8,000. Your money that now, no, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they done went in and took 2,000 of your 10,000 out. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is your strength of your dollar has been weakened. You have to spend more of them to achieve the same goal. Why? Because the government's kind of lost its fucking mind. Because they're printing money to cover debts that shouldn't even be existing right now. The China virus jacked a lot of us up, and it put us in a really bad position. Economically, we're still, treading water, I guess. But there are so many areas in this world right now that are hot spots, and we got, we got leadership. I ain't gonna say it's the best. I ain't gonna say it's the worst. I just say we got leadership, okay? What if that leadership decides that they want to do some things that kind of take us back to the past? Syria, for example. Iraq, for example. We got in wars in these countries, and they tell you one thing, but it's actually something else. All right, that's that old Platomic two-step I was telling you about. They'll tell you, oh, we have to go and we have to defend these people and we have to do this, that, and other thing. But you're not even defending your damn people right here. Okay? You're taking jobs away on the notion that you're doing everybody a fucking favor. You are watching Facts and Opinions with JR on Wjzz Cool TV, the coolest station in the world, live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment. We would love to hear what you got to say. Now, not only has Joe Biden, want to be respectful of the office, President Biden has talked about rejoining the Paris climate agreement. Now remember, that's going to cost us $3 trillion. That's going to cost us industries. That's going to cost us jobs. Okay? It was doing it before. What the fuck make you think it won't happen again? Now, not only are we talking about rejoining that bullshit, but he also has some crazy idea in his fucking mind that we should join back with the Iran nuclear agreement. Everybody and they mama, they aunt, they cousin, they motherfucking, I don't care. Everybody knows that that was not a good agreement to begin with, okay? When the agreement was made, go look this up. There was not a fucking signature on that paper. Not one. Not from any of the representatives, not from any of the countries, none of that. Nobody signed that document. But everybody wants to act as if it's factually binding. The only people that think it's factually binding are the individuals that came up with this stupid ass shit. And now we won't get back into it. It doesn't limit or stop Iran from producing a nuclear weapon. All right, let's be real about it. It's not going to stop them. The agreement, it's not going to stop them. I don't care if you sit down, tweak it around the middle, tweak it on the edges, tweak it on top. It still is not going to stop these people from getting a fucking nuclear bomb. All right? And these are the same people sworn to get rid of Israel because they are the little Satan and to fuck us up because we the big Satan. All right? And that's where we got this wrong. We're not even dealing with this in the idea that be above Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, we're still American. All right? This is our country. This is our land. This is our home. And if it's a threat placed upon our heads, our leadership should take the necessary steps to deal with that threat. Now, a lot of people didn't like Trump. Why? Because, you know, he really kind of like, I'm not putting up with your bullshit. You know, if I don't like what you're saying and if I feel you're hurting Americans, I'm fucking you up. All right? And that was the problem with him because it went outside the normal, I guess you could say, the normal Washington behavioral bullshit that they do, okay? You don't actually tell your opponent to leave me the fuck alone because I'm going to fuck you up. Now, you don't do that in Washington. You know, they dance around the issue, okay? They try to come up with different kind of political ways or diplomatic approaches to trying to straighten some shit out. And guess what? We always fucking get into wars. That's the problem. These people, look, this is a really crazy situation right now we got. And a lot of us aren't realizing the fact that there are points on this planet right now, as we speak, that can change your whole perspective in less than 5 minutes. Change your whole life in less than 20. Change the way you live, have lived your whole life in less than 30 minutes. All right? Those are actual factuals. Now, the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists just recently stated that the clock, the atomic clock, the nuclear clock, the doomsday clock, as they call it, that son of a bitch is at 100 seconds to midnight. That's close as shit ever been. 100 seconds to midnight, which means everybody getting the fuck blown the hell up, okay? Ain't there's no, oh, well, we're going to drop a couple bombs on you today, but I'll see you tomorrow. No, that shit ain't happening. All right, that's not really what's gonna go down. If the atomic clock is at, the bulletin of atomic scientists say that the doomsday clock is at 100 seconds to midnight. That should make your little fucking roach antenna stand up and be like, what the fuck going on? At least ask what the hell is going on with this. Because you can wake up, you can go to sleep, and then you can wake up and you can go to sleep right now. But one day, if all this shit fall in, let's just say, in the most negative way, you're going to fall asleep and you might wake up at like maybe about 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. All right? Maybe 1,000,000 depending on where your ass at. But the point I'm trying to make to you is you need to be aware of the things that's going on in Washington, because the things that's going on in Washington and around the world has a definite impact on you and me. And these people act like they don't want to tell us about it. I'm trying to tell y'all now. Returning to the Iranian nuclear deal is not going to work. It's really not. Because these people, at the time when the deal was crafted, y'all know it was some funny shit in that. Y'all all know that. Everybody knows that right now, we basically living with the sword of Damocles hanging the fuck over our goddamn heads every damn day right now. We got viruses that have mutated, and now you got a new strain of it. And this shit, in my opinion, like I told you before, facts and opinion with JR, in my opinion, this shit was done purposefully. They won't even let people come over there to Wuhan to actually investigate where it came from, how it got out, who the fuck was fucking with it. They don't want to do that. Why? Because, in my opinion, it was done purposefully. If somebody's causing you all kinds of grief and you really don't want to fuck with them, you do little snide-ass sneaky shit behind motherfucking closed doors. But you still achieve your ultimate goal, which is to fuck with that person. Cause them all kinds of grief. That motherfucking coronavirus, that shit has killed a lot of people. A lot of people. Don't you think or consider that to be an act of war if it's proven it was done on purpose? That's what a lot of people not really looking at. If there could ever be a point in history of man that is the most volatile time, the most dangerous time, it's right now. You're totally oblivious to what's going on around you. You're being told a bunch of lies. You're being shown a bunch of bullshit, okay? You've taken your mind off of what's really going on and being distracted with these bullshit ass shows they got on TV. Why? Because you have to have some entertainment. Why? Because you're locked up. Why? Because you can't pay your bills. Why? Because you don't have a job. Why? Because they closed everything down. Now you're left to deal with the bullshit that comes through the mainstream media. All right? And if they can deprogram anybody, they can also program your ass. So, how do you do that? By simply not telling you the fucking truth. Duh. Look, there are obvious things that we know for a fact, but we don't even want to just, have an uproar about it. All right? Everybody know that shit with Joe Biden's son, Hunter. Looks fucked up. All right? The laptop, the pictures of him smoking crack, him with a minor doing things he ain't got no business doing. Okay? Go look it up. The videos are out there. We all know that's some crazy shit. But do you honestly want me to believe that our current president, Joseph Biden, is not the big man we saving 10% for? This man is compromised. And we have a president that we know just before he was inaugurated or before he ran, whatever the fuck you want to call it, we knew this man was dirty. The evidence proved itself. Even if you just talked about it in passing, like dinner conversation, we still got question marks, okay? Even if we just talking about it in passing. But when you have a laptop and you have videos and you have text messages and you have all this corroborating evidence showing that this man is somewhat corrupt. Okay. Fuck it. Straight up corrupt, okay? How in the hell can nobody just say nothing about it? Seriously, no one has even addressed the issue. Now, had it been Ivanka Trump, Donald Trump Jr., or any of the other Trumps, they would have ran this shit up a flagpole as high as they could to see who the fuck was going to salute. All right? They would have did that. But now the damn thing's being said about Joe Biden meeting Chinese businessmen when he was vice president. Ain't nobody talking about the fact that his ass on tape violated laws by telling on his goddamn self, big mouth motherfucker, and said, well, if you don't get rid of the prosecutor that's investigating my son, then fuck it. I'm going to keep the $1 billion. What happened? They got rid of the prosecutor. They got their money. Joe Biden has to undo it. Do you think that shit was legal? Go look it up. Don't sound like it. The point that I'm trying to make about all this is, excuse me, wake up, people. This is the time. You need to get aware, be aware and get ready for some unsavory time. Joe Biden, remember, he said we are heading into some dark times. Now, if you know what I know, the man ain't never lied, because what is about to go down is going to be ugly as hell. All I say is be prepared, get your water, get your food, get your shit, all right? And be ready for what's coming, because I keep repeating myself. There's a goddamn good-ass reason these people are posted in Washington, D.C., referring to the troops, okay? And there's a damn good reason why they stopped construction on the border wall. There's a damn good reason why you got 60,000 people unemployed by one stroke of a pen. There's a damn good reason why all of this shit looks really, really ugly. They want you to look at the icing on the top of the cake, but they don't want you to cut into the cake, because if you cut into the cake, you're going to find out that's some nasty shit. All right? Might be a cake full of crap. But as long as you're dealing with the icing, dip your finger on, get a lick. As long as you do that, you good. Because the icing is sweet. That's the shit they got on top for your ass. But what's underneath, though? That's what we need to be dealing with. That's what we need to be right now. That's the shit we need to get down to. What's underneath that icing? What's really going on here? Some of the stuff I just mentioned to you is under the icing. All right? The shady business deals. The crooked way that the government and some of the leadership in the government are behaving. Okay? How do you have a civil service job? Because remember now, politicians are civil servants. How do you have a civil service job, get elected for office, all right? Senator, representative, and you fucking broke when you get there. But after a number of years of being there, you come up out that bitch paid. Do you hear me? Paid. There are millionaires leading the poor. Okay? Let's be real about this shit. And they were just what we were. But when you get to Washington, some type of way, you lose your objectivity. You lose all forms of reality, because you have to keep this in mind now. A lot of these politicians have been there for years. They are out of touch. They don't know what it is to have to get up every day and go to work. Go to work, all right? What I'm talking about is work. What they do, that bullshit they do, that ain't work. That is not work. You can sit up here and tell me all damn day long, well, they fight for us. Bullshit. They don't fight for us. It's obvious they don't give a fuck about us. Okay, look. These people, and I use the term loosely, people, need to understand that when people lose their jobs, they lose their livelihoods. Some people lose their minds. Others lose their lives. And for you to carelessly and thoughtlessly erase a person's livelihood when you're doing it every day in certain locales and in certain states, by having these lockdowns, you're killing off a lot of employment. You're killing off a lot of substantial, I guess you can say, tax dollars, because you're going to need money for all the programs and the policies you're proposing. So all we're doing is winding the clock backwards. because we're not energy sufficient, energy independent. We're back in the fucking Middle East with wars on top of wars on top of fucking wars. And we don't see how the last president said, I'm done with this bullshit war shit, I'm bringing the troops home. You didn't see how they passed the omnibus spending bill and how they wrote in that bill that the president didn't have the ability to bring home the troops. The commander-in-chief, the head guy, they want war. They need war. It's profitable. But when you had a president that didn't believe in that shit, you ran him the fuck off. You blackmailed everybody you could. You talked dirty about the man every damn day. You tried you're trying to impeach him again. Impeachment 2.0. Why? So you can fuck up the possibility that if you can impeach this president, which the Constitution does clearly state you can't do it because the man's not in office, how the fuck you gonna remove him from office if he gone from office? Does that make sense to you? No, it doesn't. But you have these lifelong, self-serving, hypocritical ass motherfucking politicians in Washington don't want to see another Donald Trump. They don't want to see Donald Trump round two. Why? Because I'm put it on the table for you. President Trump proved that they all full of shit. The lies they've been telling, the bullshit they've been doing, he actually proved that they full of shit. You don't have to have an economy functioning without jobs. Yeah, you know what happens? You drop the regulations, you lower the tax burden, you end up with jobs. What do they tell us every 4 years when anybody decides they want to run for office? We're going to get you jobs. We're going to do this and we're going to do that. And then as soon as they get the fuck in there, they lie their asses all the way up in there. And then when they get there, they do nothing. And if they do anything, it's the minuscule amount of anything that they can do. They don't want to do enough to make a difference, just enough to silence your ass. All right? That's the problem. They don't want to do their job. They just want to do enough. And you can't go into this line of work thinking you're just going to do enough. You know why? Because doing just enough can get your ass in a motherfucking war that none of us are ready for. And I told you this before. We're heading in some really, really deep, dark places. Now, they criticized Trump when he did his little pardons on his way out the door, like every president does. And we had a president, Clinton. Some of the pardons that man gave down, oh my God. You just go look them up. You know, I'm trying to tell you. And even with some of the pardons that Obama passed down, you know. You got a Cuban, I think he was a Cuban terrorist that, you know, advocated for killing up, you know, Americans and police or whatever. I think he probably did kill an officer, kill a policeman. And that's what got his ass locked up. Obama pardoned him. So I guess it's a problem because he gave out over 140 pardons. You know, let out Alice Johnson and, you know, helped with the getting the first step program going to help, you know, individuals getting out of prison. And even Lil Wayne got him a pardon, you know what I'm saying? Snoop Dogg, you know, spoke up on the president even though, you know, he was out there acting like he shooting him in the head and was talking dirty about the man, but he still, you know, Snoop still came to the prayers, you know, or wrote him up or however he communicated, you know, speaking good on Lil Wayne. Now Lil Wayne is out. Now Lil Wayne got caught up on gun charges, all right? Some bullshit, like always. But he cool. But this supposed to be a racist ass president. See, I'm so fucked up with people who, if you don't have an argument that works for you, if you don't have a policy that provides, then everything that you want to say that goes side to side is race. Is that really the only argument that a lot of these politicians have when they don't have a leg to stand on? Is that, oh, they're dividing us through race. They're dividing us through equity. What the fuck is equity? I thought it was supposed to be equality. See, that's another way I'm trying to tell you people that these people have lost their fucking minds. They want to give me, what is it? They want me to have equity. Racial equity. You know, if they can't, oh, I'm about to say something really bad. Okay, if they cannot kick your ass in one way, they come up with a whole new routine for you try to kick your ass another way. Okay, what is racial equity? I'm down with the racial equality thing. Okay, I'm good on that part. But what is racial equity? Hmm? It is another way of trying to use race as a way to fuck with us. All right. Hey, we got the phone lines are open. If you decide that you want to call in and talk to old JR, give me a call. I'm just sitting around having a conversation with my friends. That's all. And is anyone there? Okay. There's no one there. But the phone lines are open and I hope you do call. But here is the thing. Racial equity is another way. If you, okay, we all know about race baiters, all right? Al Sharpton, for example. Those are individuals that use race as a cudgel. They are the ones that always poking and prodding, saying race this, race that, his race, race, race. And he's always, I mean, they're always the ones that say you can't get ahead because the white man's standing on your damn neck, just like back in the 1700s, all right? I beg to differ. The only person in this country, the only person holding you back is yourself. That's it. The sky is the limit. No one can keep you from doing anything. This whole idea of institutional racism, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying racism does not exist. I'm not saying that there's not some form of institutional racism. I'm not saying that. But for these people that claim they want to bring us all together, consistently say things that divide us, that key in on our uniqueness and our individuality, and then try to highlight those two things to make one person seem one way or another person seem to be another way. Or they use both of those things to manipulate us and tell us, well, the 1%. Okay? Do you understand what the 1% is? The 1% that they pay lip service about, because that's all they're doing, they're paying lip service to. These are the high-tech giants. These are the corporate heads. These are the people in high places that they call the 1%, all right? And they want us to turn on the 1%. But guess what? Corporate America is in the pocket of all of these politicians. But they rail against them every day. They try to tell us that they're this and they're that and they're this bad and they're that bad. But at the same time, they go right behind and beg these people for money for their campaigns, for their high, polluting dinner engagements and shit like that. I'm out here frying chicken. These motherfuckers eating lobster, okay? I'm making bologna sandwiches and these motherfuckers having filet fucking mignon. Do you understand what the fuck I'm saying? These people are using us as fucking slaves. Not the right one. Look, there is economic slavery taking place in this country and you're just not catching on, okay? You're really not. And this shit is stupid because we're educated enough. We're educated enough to see this shit taking place. But we're not responsive enough to do something about it. And the only thing you can do about it is to vote these son of a bitches out. That's all you got to do. We could change this nation overnight by realizing the fact that these lifelong career politicians are full of shit. Let's be real. Each and every one of them are full of fucking shit because you laid off 70,000 people in your first 24 hours of work. You just got there. These same people that sit in the House and sit in the Senate, paying lip service to this bill, paying lip service to that bill, try to highlight it on television and in interviews, never get that bill passed. Why? Because it works for the American people if it's too good of a bill. And if it's too good of a bill and it may benefit us, oh no, we're going to put that bill in committee, then we're going to wait until it goes to sleep, and then we're just going to let it die in the House or die in the Senate. They just don't bring it up. It's not even a point. They just don't bring it up. When you had a bill that was releasing the banks from the draconian type of regulation that they were under, which would allow them to put loans which would have allowed them to put loans back in the black communities, build banks back in the black community. It sounds real good, and they had a bill for that. But when it came out of committee and it came up to be voted on, they let it die in the House. Why? It would have benefited poor, rundown areas to have financial investment in those areas. So that again shows you that these son of a bitches are on bullshit. They sit up here and tell us all day, oh, we love you. We want to look out for you. We care for you. You care for nothing but what's in your pocket. And what's in your pocket is the corporations. The corporations, the big dollar spenders, all of these people that have, let's just say, they have the pulse of society at their fingertips, okay? You are watching Facts and Opinion with JR on Wjzz Cool TV, the coolest station in the world, live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. Please subscribe, hit the likes, and share. Please, comments. I want to hear what you got to say. Now, look here. When Trump was giving out those pardons, at least he did keep it real. Edward Snowden, he didn't get no damn pardon. All right. Julian Assange, the cat that's over there now, hanging out in jail in Great Britain, they won't extradite him right now, by the way. He didn't get a pardon, so there was limits to what Trump did. He kind of, if you fucked up, you fucked up. I'm just not gonna do it, But we have some things that's popping off right now that we're not really addressing in the manner that we should, okay? Oh, I'm sweating. Ooh, look at all that. And anyway, do you know it's been reported that within the next 3 months to a year, we could be at war, all right? That's just how volatile the situation is in the South China Sea. What's going on with China and India on the Himalayan border, the line of actual control. They call it the LCA or LAC, okay? And what's going on with us and the freedom of navigation with China and those islands that they have in the South China Sea that they built. Now, all of that is going on, okay? But yet and still, we forget Israel, that little bitty country over there, stuck on the block with all the, Muslim and Arab countries. They are not, by any stretch of imagination, going to be cool with the idea that Iran has a nuclear weapon, all right? Now, we all suspect, it hasn't been, I guess you could say, confirmed, let's put it like that. We all suspect that Israel has nuclear weapons. They've never confirmed it, nor have they ever denied it. But we all know they got them, okay? It's been speculated that they got maybe somewhere between 50 to 100 of them off rip. Now, Iran is a strange kind of situation, all right? Because if Iran can get a nuclear weapon, now what you end up having is a nuclear arms race in the Middle East. A lot of those countries are completely unstable. We all know what's going on in Yemen, all right? After Gaddafi got took out and, Hillary Clinton, we saw, blah, blah, blah. After Gaddafi got took out, that country has been catching hell ever since. They have even live, what they call it, the slave trade going on over there right now. They're not reporting that. They're not even talking about that. Why? Because they know their hands are dirty with this bullshit. All right? What's going on in Yemen, what's going on in Syria. Look, the politicians that were in office did a lot of bad things. And Trump tried to clean it up, couldn't clean it up fast enough. But they're going backwards in time doing the same shit again. Now, Israel made it quite clear that if the United States, well, I'm not going to say Israel as a whole, one of the military chiefs of Israel made it quite clear that if the United States re-engages on the Iran nuclear agreement, that might lead to war, okay? Let's be honest. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit. Israel military chief on Tuesday warned that Iran's uranium enrichment up to 20% purity could mean that the country was months, even weeks away from obtaining a nuclear bomb. Earlier this month, Iran announced that it was enriching uranium at 20% purity. Once 20% is reached, it is a short technical step for centrifuges to obtain weapons grade 90% enrichment or better. That might not sound like much, because I know, going through the day, you ain't think about no shit like that. It might not sound like much. But here's the thing. When you have nuclear material, the right technical know-how, you could build a fucking bomb, okay? These people aren't playing, and we sitting up acting like, oh, a piece of paper, a fucking agreement is going to do something about this. Trump had these people to their knees with the sanctions and everything. If he'd have got a second term, them people would have came back to the table and tried to negotiate that shit, all right? Now, a lot of people wondering what's going on with this SALT treaty that we have with Russia, how we're pulling out of it, and now all of a sudden you got hypersonic missiles and all this other shit. But what you don't understand is that Trump was pulling out because it was unfair. You have 3 of the largest militaries on the planet. Talking about China, talking about Russia, 3 of the most powerful militaries on the planet. Talking about China, talking about Russia, and talking about the U.S., okay? Why is it only fair for the United States and Russia to have an agreement, but leave China's punk ass out of it? That's not right. So China had to be a part of that. And since China was not going to try to be a part of it, they said that, they're not doing that. We decided to get out of the treaty because we felt like we should have more participants since there's more fucking weapons out here. Now, I don't know if we're going to end up under the Biden administration going back to that. But it still, again, puts us at a disadvantage when all these people are talking about having a war. They're talking about it so nonchalantly, like it's just like sitting around a coffee table talking about the curtains or the shades. I mean, the drapes. This is quietly being talked about, but definitely encouraged, okay? What I mean by quietly, they're not putting this out for public dissemination. You don't see this on the evening news every damn day. You don't hear about this and on your radio and in your car. They're not going to talk about it like that. Why? Because I guess it's meant to be a surprise for us and wake up one day with bombs dropping on us, but that's your fault if you're not trying to be informed and be prepared for what's coming. Look, it's a lot of things taking place right now, and none of us, and I, myself included, none of us are ready for this bullshit. How the hell do you get ready for a financial collapse? How do you get ready for potential war with adversaries that actually want to kill your ass off? How do you get ready for anarchy in the streets? How do you get ready for any of this? You do the best you can, but you also have to have the warning signs and the knowledge of being able to see these things develop right before your face. Each step leads to another step and another step and another step, and then eventually your ass is off and running. And that's where we're going. All of this stuff here that's going on with these politicians talking crazy, the illegal things that they're doing, we all know what's really going on here. And it's not designed to help any of us. It's not designed to get us out of debt or to help us get our houses in order or anything of that nature. This is designed, like I said, I don't want to be, that guy that does the conspiracy theories and stuff like that, but you got to ask yourself what's really going on when it comes down to a lot of this stuff, because these people are not going to tell us what's happening, why they doing what they doing, why the moves they making, and what will be the end result of these moves that they make, because we're the ones that's going to have to pay the price at the end of the day. These people have bunkers. They have places they can go and hide out and wait till everything clears up and the smoke is better. I mean, the air is better, and they can come up out their little holes they hiding in. But the rest of us don't have that luxury. We have to work our best to stay above the fray and understand that none of these things that we're talking about is going to change. What we have to do is change the leadership. We got a little time, okay? Let's be honest. We got a little time, but not a lot. We You got a finite amount of time to understand what's going on. And these are not things that people are just like randomly putting out there. This stuff is out here, and it's not. They're not gonna talk to you about it. They're not gonna be like, well, we need to get this together and we need to get that together because we think this is gonna happen and that's gonna happen. They're not gonna do that. They're never gonna do that because that's too obvious. If they just decide that they want to make the moves they want to make, they're going to leave us out the loop. You are watching Facts and Opinion with JR on Wjzz Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. Live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. Please, please, please like, subscribe, and comment. I just want to hear what you got to say. But anyway, we're about to wrap it up. It's been real. See you tomorrow from 2 to 3 on WJZZ.